Welcome to season 2 of Fresh Off the Boat. My name is Arjun Seth. I'm the founder director of Edbrand and collegefair.live. For everyone listening in today, I'm delighted to have, a fun conversation with Yashoda. Yashoda is a student I've known since 2018, and she applied to unis in the UK, very clear about life sciences, career in medicine, and things around it. I'm glad that you chose to apply to a biomedical science program as well. So why don't you introduce yourself, Yashoda, and we'll take it from there.
Sure. So I'm Yashoda, as you know by now. I'm 21. I'm at UCL. I'm in my last year doing a degree in cancer biomedicine. So it's just a biomedical research degree, but kind of grounded in cancer research. And my goal is ultimately to be in medical research, obviously. So I'm doing a master's in research after this at Imperial, provided I meet the condition. But yeah, that's me.
That's great. There was lots to you other than just the studies when you were in school, for sure. And I know you were very clear about studying somewhere in the UK or somewhere in the continent. How did you go about doing research, and how did you sort of size up your preferences in terms of choosing the type of universities back then?
So I think the thing that made me choose the UK, first of all, is that if you have a clear idea of what you want to do, it's quite tailor-made for people who are quite clear on what path they want to choose, because you have to be sure that you want to do it, because changing between streams and courses isn't quite as easy as I'm assuming it will be in the States or maybe even Canada. But I chose the UK because I knew what I wanted to do. I didn't necessarily want to do like 1 year of like pre-med or figuring out what I want to do. I just wanted to go straight into it. And in terms of the actual unis, I kind of honed in on London quite early on, because it's a place I'm quite familiar with. So location is a big thing even outside of academics, because you need to be sure it's a place that you'll be able to call home, because you will be spending 3 years there. So for me, that was a big thing. I had to have some sort of familiarity with the place. I didn't want to go into a completely new city, though some people might gravitate towards that. But for me, that familiarity was a big thing. And honestly, London is pretty well known for having, I guess, some of the biggest like research focused institutions. So King's, UCL and stuff, their research centers are incredible, and UCL specifically does a lot of cancer research work. They have a few very well-known labs right next to campus, and our professors do a lot of research themselves. So I was kind of looking at the faculty and their work and what I was interested in when I was researching as well. I think that's a pretty useful thing to do, though it might not be a conventional thing to do before choosing a uni. But looking at the faculty, and if you're into research something, looking at the work they do can kind of give you some ideas of what you might be like in your dissertation or third year, what you might have the option to do. So yeah, ultimately UCL was the one that I guess I was most drawn to.
Great. So if you were to look at biomedical sciences, it's such a wide field, and being at a big uni which has a medical center, hospitals, or research centers attached to it, what do you think puts it all together? How does a student walk the path? Is the curriculum more fixed, or is there a lot of flexibility? How do you sort of navigate your way? What resources do you get?
So you mean as part of the degree itself?
Yeah. How does the degree work, and what kind of resources do you get?
So in my degree, I thought that since it's cancer focused, we'd kind of be jumping straight into cancer, but really it was quite flexible in terms of the areas of biomedicine that we focused on in year 1 and 2. It was very broad. Like it really wasn't just cancer whatsoever. It was like 2 or 3. So we always get to choose some modules, and then the rest are compulsory. So the compulsory ones would be cancer focused, and the optional ones you got to choose from like a range of modules within applied medical sciences, which is like the broad, I guess, a broad stream that my course is a part of. And you have a lot of time to choose your modules. So they tell you way in advance. You have the whole summer to think about it. So I just made sure that I was choosing modules outside of cancer because I was always interested in other diseases as well, like rare diseases, genetic disorders. It was never just cancer, but I did think that cancer would be the big thing for me. So I made an effort to kind of go beyond that in my optional modules, both in first year, second year, and third year. And um, in terms of resources, it really is there's there's so much out there. Like we have so many libraries affiliated with our institution, which means you can get access to pretty much any research paper, any books, any material you need to, like, work towards your assessments and stuff. There's just a lot of resources out there, and the faculty are actually extremely helpful. So if you're ever struggling, I think one big thing that I learned on my course is that with the pandemic and stuff, we were all kind of hit by this tsunami of mental health problems, which was very unprecedented. And when I was struggling actually quite a lot in my second year, and I reached out to some of my faculty members, and they were so supportive. I mean, I think I know we're talking about academics, but I think that's an important thing to know when you go to uni, is making sure it's an institution that also has a network to support their students outside of academics. So all in all, I thought that my course, I can't speak for every course at UCL, but my course definitely had both the academics and non-academic resources that I
So
needed.
that kind of also segues into the next question I really want to ask is support and the community, and how do you really engage in a community in an urban center like London? It might seem that the city of so many people, but
Yeah.
you might not really know many
Yeah.
well enough with the busy sort of course load and schedule.
Yeah.
So how do you think of, in the US, you have the frat sorority system, you have clubs and societies in the UK. What did you do to connect with like-minded people?
So that is one thing that I realized, like, straight off the bat when I got to UCL. I was like, okay, so it's not, you don't really have a campus feel to the university. Like, definitely wouldn't be anything like in the States and stuff, because it is just like a big building in the middle of a very metropolitan city, and then the affiliated departments are scattered all around Bloomsbury. And so I did kind of get there, and I was like, okay, so it's not going to be like a community situation. um so I joined a couple of societies in my first year. Like, I joined dance society and just a couple of random things with some people that I knew from Delhi who had also come to UCL. And I met a few people through that, and then I met a lot of friends in my accommodation. That's one place that you do kind of get to meet a lot of people who literally live in the same, like, small community as you. So I guess where you miss out campus wise, you kind of get a bit of that through where you live in your first year. So definitely, like, student halls is a big thing. And then I'm lucky that I really got along well with the people on my course itself, because they are like-minded in one respect, but they also ended up being really fun, really easygoing people outside of even what we were studying. And most of my friends I actually met there. And then I made a big effort to meet people that my Delhi friends introduced me to. Like, I had a couple of friends who had gone to King's and stuff, so they introduced me to their friends, and we got quite close. And I think the important thing is, really, one thing that I didn't do as much in first year is to just push yourself out of your comfort zone, go for all the meetups, go for all the socials. Like, it doesn't matter. You might not have to see anyone again if it's embarrassing, but just do it, because seriously, you do not know what might come out of it. You can make the best friends in your life. And I told my sister this, and my sister's 3 years younger than me, and she started at UCL this year as well. And she did exactly that. She just threw herself into everything. Random things that she would never have thought of doing in school. And I think it's been amazing for her. She's really branched out.
That's great to know that you experienced something and you're also kind of advising your little sister to sort of follow that path. For anyone listening, yeah, these are great tips. Moving on, I think settling in on campus, making friends, settling in the academic sort of cadence of workload. Then do you start thinking of the future, like you already did with your research and seeking out advisors and then applying for grad school? How did that pan out? at what point did you know that this is not enough? Like you'd want to do more, and what kind of internships, etc. did you pursue?
Okay, so I think first year, honestly, I wasn't really thinking about the future like that. I just wanted to focus on what I was doing. But towards second year, during the pandemic, I had a lot of time to think about this because essentially, like our second term just got wiped out. So they had canceled our exams and everything. So I was literally just sitting there for 6 months with a lot of free time. So that's when I was thinking about it, and I was like, okay, I have an undergraduate degree in biomedical science, but realistically, and I've heard this from a lot of people older than me I have a few friends on the same course, but older, and a lot of them have told me um it's quite hard to jump straight into like an actual position of employment from an undergraduate degree in research. Like it's one of those courses where it makes sense to have like a master's degree to kind of seal it off, if that, I don't know if that might not be the case for everyone, but for me, because I realized the big thing was that I realized that cancer wasn't my main area of interest, which is ironic because I spent 3 years doing a cancer research degree, but it's good because I did think that that's what I wanted to be doing, and doing it I realized it wasn't. I realized I was more interested in other diseases. Definitely wanted to be in medical research, but for me, because I was then in a position where I was like, okay, wait, so it's not cancer that I want to do. So masters made a lot of sense for me because it's gonna let me explore the 2 or 3 areas I'm very interested in, very, very in depth, in a research setting. And then from there, it'll make more sense for me to like apply for jobs and stuff. So in terms of the actual application process and stuff, I started much earlier than most people do because so in the summer between my second year and third year, I started looking at courses I might want to do because I had nothing better to do in the summer. So I was looking at courses I might want to do, and then most people recommend you start like reaching out to people you might want to ask for references and stuff, kind of early on, so they're not shocked and they don't take too long. And I kind of gave myself a goal to just be done with my applications before term 2 of year 3 started, because I knew it was going to be hectic. So yeah, I gave myself a goal to apply by Jan, like the end of Jan. I reached out to my supervisors in like September, October, just to let them know that I'd be, asking them for a request. And because term 1 wasn't that hectic with work, I was able to work on my applications as well and balance that with my uni work. And I just sent out my applications in at the beginning of Jan. And I think that's why I got responses quite quickly, is because it's rolling admission. So as soon as you apply, they'll take into account your application. They don't, it differs by union course, but my course, they don't really wait for a bunch of people to apply and then assess it. So I was like, okay, let me just get it over with. And then I got a response quite fast from a couple of unis. So yeah, for me, a master's just makes sense because it's going to let me figure out exactly what I want to research. But if you're at my stage and you know exactly what you want to do, then you can, it might make sense to start applying for jobs in the industry or in academia and stuff. But that was just my experience.
Thank you so much, Yashoda. It's been a pleasure just catching up and also hearing interesting tidbits from your academic and life in general in UCL and in London. So looking forward to catching up once you're into your masters and hearing
Definitely.
about different. Yeah, it'll be fun to.
I would love that. Okay.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.